Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back for a new vid. This one is once again going back to the gaming era of DC and what I think they should try next. But now we're going to approach the other side of the spectrum, which is Superman. That's right, I'm going to tell you how I feel a Superman game should be made. And honestly, the idea is so simple but at the same time so genius. But it isn't all mine. A friend of mine helped me come up with it, so this is a co-created idea. So special shout out to my buddy Edgar. You know, you're my man. We came up with this together, and now it's getting out there. I hope everybody enjoys. So let's just do one quick rehash of Superman's gaming history. It's bad. I mean, were you going to expect me to say anything good about it? Honestly, he's only ever had one passable game. And I happen to own that game. Right here. It is Superman Shadow of Apocalypse. Takes place and is designed in the Superman animated series franchise. And this is actually the only Superman game I own. And I'm greatly happy about that because it's the only good one that I've ever seen, ever. And to say it's good just means it's passable. I mean, there are flaws with it, like you wouldn't believe certain levels really annoy the crap out of me. And yes, I apologize in advance for that. But getting on to what this is about now. Superman is what we call an OP character. That is short for overpowered, for those who don't know. And just because he is that way, it makes it so difficult to make a game around him because what is the key factor about a video game? You want to level up your character. And in games, there are many ways to do that. Its equipment gets better, your character gets stronger, gets faster, maybe even gains new abilities. You know, it's just all kinds of stuff that your character can get as they level up. That's the whole point of a game. Your character gets stronger to handle the much tougher bosses as they come down the road. But with Superman, he is already so powerful that you literally can't make him any stronger. I mean, you could, but if you did, then what? I mean, like, in the comics, there are ways for him to become so much more powerful than he already is that he basically becomes a god. And he already is borderline like that, so absolutely nobody wants to, you know, have a guy who's all that powerful and not have anything to do with him. So the formula that my friend and I came up with is a very simple one. You take the leveling up system, but you work it in reverse. Now, how do I mean this? I mean you depower Superman as the game goes on. Now, a lot of you are probably looking at me like, what are you talking about? How could you even consider doing that? How would that even work? There are ways. Okay? It all depends on the game story that you tell, and we have a very simple one thought up. You put Superman into the Phantom Zone. You create a story in which he gets trapped there. Now, in there, you can have a variety of like alien-based villains that he has dealt with, but he's now out of the sun. That's the big point. He's away from the sun, so he now has to find a way back, you know, and his friends on the outside are trying to help make a way for him to get back. So in this game, what I am saying is that you have Superman uh, lose power as the game goes on. Like, you won't do it right away, but each time that you get to a certain moment where normally you'd level up, no. You now are going to level down, meaning you have to choose what superpower could you now live without for the rest of the game. Whatever one you pick, you cannot do for the remainder of the game. So you'd have to think very strategically on how you would approach the game. Obviously, most folks want to keep Superman's flight and his super strength. You know, they want to keep those two core things. So you'd have to think, okay, what other minor abilities can I live without right now? Like his ice breath, or his heat vision, or his x-ray vision, or even his super hearing. Like, yeah, I'll throw that in the mix too. You know, so you'd have to be very, very careful about what powers you decide to lose, because you pick one that's too important to him, or you pick one a little too early that would have been beneficial to you, then the game becomes much harder. But that's the thrill, isn't it, guys? Having the game be harder. So now how it would look is you would think that, oh my god, each of these villains are getting tougher and tougher. And it's like, no, they're not really getting tougher. You're just getting weaker, so they seem tougher. And who I feel should be the main villain of that particular game is General Zod. I feel he should be the final boss. You know? Because it's just so perfect. You get to the end, and if you managed to hold on to Superman's strength until then, I mean, if you did, you know, kudos to you. But if you didn't, then you have a very difficult fight in front of you, because now you are going up against the one and only person who actually does know how to fight. Of course, this depends on the version of Superman we pick. It could be the one who actually does not know how to fight at all and just, you know, relies on his big muscle strength and only knows how to punch, if even, which is all he really did know how to do. But if you pick the Superman who actually knows some Kryptonian martial arts that he learned from, I think it was his cousin Supergirl. I'm not entirely sure if I'm right about that, but I know there's a version of him that knows Kryptonian martial arts, and I think to myself, oh my god, how come there is no comic book with him doing this against a worthy opponent? Like, oh god, come on! But anyway, that would be the way I do the Superman game. And my friend, he came up with the Phantom Zone idea, so we ran with it from there. And you could actually make at least a 3-game series out of this if you did it right. Like, game 1 would be the Phantom Zone. Game 2 could be he gets sent to War World with Mongol, and he's out of the sun again. So he's got his powers still, but he's losing them as the fights go on. And last game, I suppose that could be one of two different things. It could be Lex Luthor. Actually, 3 different things now that I think about it. Lex changing the sun to red, so he has the beneficial ties on the battle. Or Brainiac doing the exact same thing. Or even Apocalypse, you know, Darkseid coming to Earth, attacking it. You know, there's a variety of ways you can go about that, but the point is that you have to take the sun out of the equation and follow this formula. I do realize that the idea sounds great for maybe 1 game, but then trying to squeeze another 2 out of it seems kind of tedious, and maybe even a little annoying on some level. But, you know, there are just a variety of different ways you can handle the whole thing. you could even reverse it like just one time if you wanted, where say after the first game is done, Superman instantly after he escapes the Phantom Zone is like immediately picked up by energy beam that takes him straight to the war world, which just arrived on Earth. And that's where you leave the game off, and then we move on from there, where he is now fighting for his life. You could even have Supergirl show up in that game, like she's a prisoner there too, or something of, you know, like that. And I feel like there's a good way to make this happen, and that's the formula I'd follow. But if you did do it the way I just suggested, with him being picked up by Warworld, what I mean by the reverse is now you can level him back up again, but that's in the second game. So it's a fun idea is what it is, and if you do it right, I think people would really enjoy it. They'd have so much fun. It would have unbelievable replay value so that you could choose your power selections better as you lose them, and then subsequently gain them back if you know, the other game happened the way I'm suggesting it should happen. But there you go, guys. That's the Superman game formula. That's how I feel it should be done, and I honestly don't see how that's not possible. I mean, if game creators can create games where you level up, I don't see why they can't create the game system going in reverse. I really don't see why that's not a possibility. It just seems very doable. So I hope anyone out there, WB Montreal, Rocksteady, if you're still interested in doing this, just anybody who's willing to try to create a Superman game, there you go. That is the formula I am giving out. And by the way, since he's in the Phantom Zone, obviously anything can be destructible then, and you don't have to care because there's nothing there. You can make it look like any way you want, but there's no city, nobody good lives there, so it doesn't matter what you destroy. And there you have it. That's Superman's game series in a nutshell that I would try to accomplish. Steady formula idea, great replay value, plenty of ways to milk that for at least 3 games, which, let's face it, every company wants to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and be sure to share it, like, and if you got any thoughts on whether you want to discuss this game a bit or throw out some ideas of your own, comment below. And until the next one, peace. Have a good day.